Hello. Today I'm going to tie for you an updated version of the A Sunken Ant. Like the original, the idea was to create an ant pattern with relatively few materials that would sink. This is not a dry fly. And if you fish the spring creeks in Pennsylvania, um, these things come in handy. So we're going to use a glass bead as its head. I learned recently that if you singe ultra chenille just right, it kind of looks like the abdomen of an ant. And then I'm going to fill in with a little black superfine dubbing. I'm going to use Krystal Flash for the legs, and you can feel free to substitute there. If you want to hackle it, that's fine too. And I'm going to put this on a Daiichi size 16 1160 hook. The curved hook seems to give me the right proportions when I tie things in place. I'm going to use two threads for this fly. Some 3/0 to fill in around the bead, and then basically tie the fly with 8/0 thread so I can use more wraps without building bulk. So this is the little trick of picking up beads with the bodkin. And if you use your um, hackle pliers to hold the hook, it makes it kind of easy to get the bead lined up with the hook and hold the hook while you get it placed in the vise. So some of these beads these vary. These are craft shop beads, and they have different size holes and different shapes. So I kind of pick one that looks appropriate. And the idea of this little ball of thread here is to keep the bead from really crowding the eye of the hook. Nothing more, just some of the beads slide way up over and cover about half the hole and make it kind of difficult when you're trying to thread them on the tippet out on the stream. So we'll just wrap some thread, do a little jam knot, put a couple extra wraps, and whip finish and trim out the excess. So that seems about right. Takes a try or two to figure out how many wraps or how big a little ball you need there. I like to put a little super glue on that thread ball, and kind of fill in the void. I don't know that it really holds anything in place, but it fills in any voids there. Feels better to me. And here's the singeing process. So I got started and gave it a little harder hit on one side, and it kind of made a little curved abdomen looking piece of chenille. So let's get our 8/0 thread started and wind to the back. Of course, snip out the excess, and I like to add a couple extra wraps back here, maybe a little ball. I think it keeps things from sliding front to back. This might take a time or two to get the length. I could have curved that down. Um, these things are going to roll around in the water. I'm not sure there's a right side up. But after further review, I think I may have wanted to flip that chenille over and have that curve down. It's kind of up to you there. And I snipped off the excess. I did experiment with folding that back over to kind of make a thicker body in the front, or thicker abdomen in the front back there, but the fuzz of the chenille kind of got in the way, it stuck out in all directions, and I wasn't real pleased with it. Could have worked. It was just, again, personal preference. So we'll come back in with some dubbing. Now on the original fly, I used some yarn to fill in. I did fold it back, and then I covered it with UV resin. And all that was a little extra processing. It made a nice smooth abdomen in the back, and it fished really well. It just took a little longer, and it took a little more effort when you had to put the UV on and cure it. So these go a little faster. You can do these if you want to um, make these flies in bulk. You can prepare a bunch of abdomens ahead of time, short pieces, singe both ends, and you can still use the middle. So that's basically it, minus the fuzzy stuff I'm going to trim off here. And again, maybe blown up on the screen, it doesn't look quite as smooth as I thought it did to the naked eye. And we'll put a whip finish here just to keep things from coming loose. So build a little taper behind the front, the glass bead toward the front, and park the thread in the middle. And we're going to get some Krystal Flash and lock it into place. Crisscross wraps if you can. I fought this stuff a little bit, but ultimately it kind of fell into place. And then one of the things, I could have stopped right there and I think I would have been better off, but I started to pull two legs back on each side and one leg forward. Um, I don't know, just a little thing that appealed to me, but probably is unnecessary. I know that some folks have three legs and they stick out kind of evenly on each side, and um, I'm not sure I like that. It looks too manufactured. So that's what I was trying to experiment with and see if this is something a little better. It looks a little more natural. Of course, Krystal Flash is not really a natural material, so to speak. So come in and whip finish in the middle. And you can see we have a narrow waist in the middle yet. There's a bulb in the back. And Krystal Flash will give a little sparkle. I think sometimes the sparkle or catching a little light looks like movement. So we'll pull the legs back, make them a little longer than the end of the abdomen. And to be honest, that was the first go around, and I looked at everything, and it still looked a little long to me, so I came back in and trimmed a little more. Like I said, I've only tied one or two of these this way, and I think they're going to work just fine. I haven't fished these yet, and I think I'm going to be able to crank them out a lot faster rather than the playing around I used to do with the UV. So we'll come in with a drop of head cement and kind of drop it right behind the bead. Let it flow down in there and fill things out. And basically that's it. So I hope this fishes as well as the original. I think I'm going to be able to crank them out faster. And I hope you guys catch a lot of fish with these. So you can see that head cement kind of soaked back into the dubbing a little bit, and I don't think that hurts. But thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon. Till next time, be safe.